when living in one place, it's so easy to get stuck in a vacuum or like a balloon. Exploring the planets reveals the world we live in. Kind, wondrous, and a joyful place. While exploring, we learn more lessons in those 6 to 7 days of travel than in our usual mundane days. How many of you agree to this statement? Raise your hands. We learn more in the travel days than in our usual mundane days. Okay, I see slowly hands are raising. I guess we are all in the same page right now. Please note down the comments and questions that you have about my speech, and I will address them at the end of the session for sure. I started traveling every year from 2012 and explore at least one new place a year. I would like to run down the memory lane and share the life lessons I learned during my dream vacation to Thailand and Cambodia. As I grew up watching Dil Chahta Hai, Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Friends series, I always had a dream of traveling abroad with my closest friends. So I, along with my 4 other friends, decided to travel abroad in 2018 and started planning right away. Planning is the key to success. We planned to go to Thailand and Cambodia during the time of Christmas and New Year to make it even more memorable. This planning had started 3 months prior to our travel days. We had Zoom video calls to make itinerary, book the tickets, and listed down the places to go on, foods to delve into, and yes, most important one, preparing shopping list. How could we miss that as we are going to Bangkok? Planning and the excitement that we have on the each passing day was like being in cloud 9 due to the anticipation that I will be having the best travel experience ever. Planning and anticipation makes life interesting, and this is the number one lesson that I learned from my this dream vacation. So how many of you feel, or how do you feel between the planned day and the main actual day of traveling? The time that you have, how do you feel? I guess it would be 1 month or 2 months. So there will be feeling of anxiousness or someone excitement or anything else. What do you feel? I would like to see it in the chat box. Okay, while you write something on the chat box.
No, Kane.
Toastmaster Sanjana, how many days did you have as the gap?
As I said, it was 3 months. So I had the 3 months gap and the excitement level was good each day. How do you feel? Or how much time do you take? Toastmaster Nikisa?
It's all excitement, and then in the end, if fingers crossed, but if it gets cancelled, then it's all disappointment.
Yes, exactly. The same thing happens to me as well. And yes, that is the next thing I'm going to talk about. But on the, yes, I lose this suspense. But on the random one day, 1.5 months prior to my dream vacation, I felt like a character from a meme, where one by one, all the friends back out and only one person will be left. Have you been in such a situation where you make the planning with all the friends and suddenly everyone leaves and you are the only one that is left? Raise your hand if you have been in such a situation. Okay, Toastmaster Basanti, Rohit Sharma. So there are lots of people. Yes, we have that situations coming up. And yes, thank God it's not just me. Out of 4 friends, 2 friends were already in Thailand studying and working, and 2 friends were. Toastmaster Akriti, do you have anything to say about this particular thing where you were in such a situation, Toastmaster Akriti?
Not really.
Okay, let me proceed with my speech then. So when I was doing the same thing. Two friends out of my four friends who were supposed to go with me backed out with their genuine reason. So I could not even pressurize them. I felt like it didn't took even a minute to drop from cloud nine to ground. After hitting hard on that ground, I pondered, if not now, then when? This brings me to my second lesson, and that is the show must go on. Easy to say, but arduous to execute. Convincing my parents to allow me to travel from here to Thailand was like finding a needle in a haystack. With the beam of hope and showing them foolproof plan, they agreed after 7 days. And with that approval, I did the cumbersome tasks of packing the bags, applying for the visa, getting the ticket, and also preparing for the answers to give in the Nepal airport. Even with all this preparation, I had some issue in Nepal airport, but with that so must go on attitude, I was able to clear all the obstacle and enter into the flight and then took the breath of relief. Hey, yes, I come to Thailand and Cambodia within few hours. Little did I know that 3.5 hours could feel like an eternity when sitting silently and even having no guts to utter a word with the person sitting next to my flight. I hope everyone has been in such a situation, if not in flight, in anything else. So in the bus, it may be, or in the school. So have you been in such a situation where you didn't have any guts to come and talk or initiate a talk? So any place that you have been in such a situation, I would like to see it in chat box so that I don't feel like left out, that it's not just me.
Toastmaster Sanjana, what did you do in that 3 hours then?
Yes, as I had no earphones, I could not use the mobile phones. So it's just me and my anticipation of what's going to do next. So that's all I could do. So was there any situation for you as well?
Yes, of course.
I had. So Toastmasters Sanjana, you had to get prepared. Like if you were in the flight and if those situations came across you, so you can handle. You have to sit silently or alone for 3 hours or three and more than 3.5 hours, because if you are going with friends or if you are going with family or anyone else in flight, you may have to exchange your seat with someone else. So you have to encourage, you have to initiate for your company. You have to speak. It doesn't matter who is he or she sitting next to you. You have to initiate. You have to prepare for yourself. You have before you went to the flight.
Yes.
Right? So if
Yes,
I was in that situation, then of course I will be initiating. Like like in Toastmasters also, I didn't know any one of you, so I initiated to speak. Likewise, in the traveling, you have to initiate because you have to cross that 3 hours speaking, spending some time. Like you cannot sit silently and relax for 3 hours. So
yes,
you have
exactly,
to
Toastmasters.
initiate, right?
It's very hard, and I agree totally with you that whenever you have in situation, we need to come up and speak. And yes, I love your spirit, and you know that you will be doing that. So I would also like to ask Toastmaster Ujjwal if he has been in such a situations. Let him speak as well. So have you been in such a situation, Toastmaster Ujjwal?
Yes, very true. Just last week, just Saturday, I was attending this TED Talks, and I just on my own, and I just looked at my left and right, and I saw one couple there, and I started the initiation, and then I started talking, and we became really good friends. And actually, I found out they were simply just like-minded, like myself. So initially, you do feel weird and kind of awkward, but once you start the conversation, the other people will follow.
Exactly. Thank you, Toastmaster Ujjwal, for your contribution onto the speech. Yes, when every person is a stranger at first, and when we start the initiation, we become friends. And same thing happens, but that starting, or what we call breaking that ice, is really hard. And it was toughest, or it was arduous for me to break that ice, and I could not break it even in that 3.5 hours. So with this, what I learned is, and that is my third point, that is communication skills. Though out of 9 days, out of 11, I did not have to think about communication skills because I was with my closest friends, and I knew that I would be traveling with my closest friends, and they know what I am trying to say, and travel to Cambodia, islands of Thailand, snorkeling, swimming in the ocean, and whatnot. And but the 2 days out of 11 days, I had to travel alone to the different temples of Cambodia and Bangkok. I had no choice but talk to strangers, to ask for directions, request for pictures, and knowing the cultures. I slowly started feeling comfortable to communicate with them. And while returning from Safari World, I shared a cab with two strangers, Indian strangers, and even the traffic felt good when trying to converse with about the hobbies, and we became friends. As Toastmaster Ujjwal said, it's just take an initiation. When you do with the practice, it becomes habit, and you try to do more. Believe me or not, while returning from Bangkok to Kathmandu, I initiated talk with the stranger sitting next to me, and he's not a stranger anymore. We had a good talk and it broadened my perspective.
Okay,
Communication is
Toastmaster
very
Sanjana,
important. Yes, Toastmaster.
you said you traveled Bangkok and Cambodia alone, and at the beginning you had said that the movies like Dil Chahta Hai and so on inspired you to travel. So do you think the movie really inspired to travel?
Yes, I guess it was ingrained in my mind from the childhood that we have to travel, we have to enjoy, look at the perspective, and broaden our mind. And mainly for the sake of having fun, I guess I was coming forward for it, and mainly showing the friendship bonds and all those things, and trying out different things like skydiving. So I tried for skydiving, but I could not. So I did the snorkeling. Same thing happens, I guess. The things that we take every day is ingrained in your mind, and you want to do forward. So yes, I guess it has been inspiring thing for me, that movies. So I would
Okay,
say
so
yes.
you wanted to have fun with your friends, right? But you had done a solo trip. So did you really enjoy that?
To answer that, yes, I did a solo trip for 2 days, and the rest of the 9 days I enjoyed with my friends. I hope that answered your question, because I did both of those, the solo as well as the friends and closest friends, trying out the different things and walking in the beaches and creating those or recreating the Dil Chahta Hai moments out there. With this, as every person is like a book, but we need to read the chapters in order to know more. We look only at the cover page, but delving into the pages is needed in order to broaden the mind and build a better connection. Coming on to the fourth and the final lesson that I learned is, we need to learn to take risk. You might get kidnapped or robbed, or what if something happens in that unknown city? These were the risks portrayed by my parents while trying to persuade them. What I feel is, in travel, we keep on taking risks, whether that is swimming in that ocean, or setting a cab with a stranger, or keep on walking in that darkness. The good news is you get to analyze the things, and same thing happens in your life as well. We keep on making different things, but the biggest risk in life is not taking one. Any risks that you have taken so far, the biggest risks that you feel that you have taken, you can write down in the chat box. Let me know what is the biggest risk that you have taken so far. Yes, while I see the chat box, we keep on making, we come across a plethora of lessons in our life, but the impact of lessons that we learn in travel is powerful. Planning with anticipation, Now, so must go on attitude. Third one is communication skills, and the learning to take risks are the four lessons that have stuck in my head. Travel makes us happy. Travel brings us to bring out of our comfort zone, and travel keeps on exploring ourselves. So if there is anything you feel like you need to ask, please feel forward to tell about the lessons that you have learned so far, or any questions.
Of course, traveling is really exciting and adventurous. I like a long time back, 4 to 5 years ago, I went for bungee jumping without telling anything in my house, without telling my parents and none of the members from my house. So I went for the bungee jumping, and I did swing at the same moment. And when it's time for the bungee jumping, my one leg harness was loosened, and I jumped.
That's amazing, Toastmaster Eva. That was an
Unfortunately,
amazing thing to hear.
I'm alive and I'm in the Toastmasters. So my shoe went off from my leg, and one leg I was tightened, so it saved me. Everyone, my friends were really, they were scared that what will happen, as she didn't even tell in her house.
Okay,
So when I
listen to your Toastmaster Eva, we can listen to your
my
more
mom called me,
speeches and
and
experiences.
she called me for half an hours. So that was really exciting, and as I can say,
I can feel you. I can feel your
Yeah.
emotions.
And
We can talk about it
put
after
that
this.
video on the
speech.
Facebook, everyone can it was visible, like my soul went off with that jump. So every one of us can relate that moment.
Yes, so true. Yes, we all have been in the travel phase in each and every phase of our life. So with this, we can take it further after this speech is done, and we could chat about it, the more emotions and more travel experiences we have and the lessons we take. So with this, let's keep on exploring and learn to travel and travel to learn. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the morning, Toastmaster Pratiksha.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So first of all, congratulations to you, Toastmaster Sanjana. You did a really good job. Handling audience, I must say, is a very arduous task, and you did it very nicely, very properly. Audience handling means asking questions, letting audience speak, respecting their queries, listen them very carefully, and you did it very nicely. I'm a bit less qualified, I would say. I'm in level 2 and you are in level 4, but I will try to present what I observed in your speech, in your long 10 to 15-minute speech. So first of all, I'd like to say is you started with asking question to the audience about the travel and the vacation. You stated how you prepared yourself for your travel. You looked confident. You were confident throughout your speech with a perfect smile on your face constantly. So coming back to you, the audience handling, you were amazing handling the impromptu questions coming back to you from the audience. The hand gestures, the eye contact were very good with the proper flow, and you use the stage within your framework very nicely. The I can observe that you were trying to, the audience were trying to interrupt you during your speeches, during your answering the audience queries, but you were confident, you were listening them very carefully, and you were respecting them. That's the main thing about handling the speaker, about the handling the audience. The when you say about the using the word of the day, you also use it twice or I guess 3 times in the speech, so that is also a plus point for you. It was a very difficult task to find flaws in your speeches, but here are 2 things that I would like to suggest. The first one is time management. As we have all saw in your speech that you could have taken about or planned in a way that you would end your speech in 12 to 13 minutes. And the audience handling means you don't know what audience gonna take. They're gonna make noises or they're gonna speak for too long. So you must be prepared about giving 2 to 3 minutes time to yourself, so that you can end your speech, or you can put your thoughts at the end nice and clear, because you seemed a bit hurry at the end, as we can observe. But it was completely okay, and you were doing good in throughout the speech. But at the end, you could have done it a little better. Otherwise, it's all good. And the second one thing that I would like to say is there's not much flaws I can find it, but a humor that the audience could have smiled or laughed, that could have bring a nice a perspective to your speech. Otherwise, I can find it a very good speech, very good handling of the audience, and there is nothing that I can much say about it. So best of luck for your future speeches. That's it. Thank you.